In this video, I'm gonna teach you how to rig your character in Maya 2025. You might say, what is rigging? The process of creating bones for your model or character in order to animate it is called rigging. See these things that work like a bone is called joint. Now you might wonder, how does a joint work? Unlike what you expect, it doesn't work like a skeleton. It doesn't move the body of your character. In fact, it moves the vertices or points that shape your character. Therefore, the object you're gonna use for rigging should have good amount of vertices. Otherwise, you will have lots of problem. For example, we have a cylinder right here, and it's not good for rigging because when you select it, you see it just has a bunch of vertices at the top and another group at the bottom and nothing in the middle, which makes it a terrible nominees for rigging. So we need to increase the number of vertices. This one is good. But keep in mind, more doesn't mean better. You need to have a good amount. For example, this is terrible. Look, too many vertices. It's gonna put a lot of pressure on your system. Keep in mind, something useful. For example, this one is good. Now I'm gonna rig this cylinder. Yes, I know it's not much, but I promise you it's honest work. And after watching this video, you know everything you need to know to rig a character. So, keep watching. Okay, I said in order to rig, you need to create joints, which works like bones. But how to create it? There are so many ways. The first one is to click on skeletons. But as you can see, there is no skeletons here because you need to change your Maya template from modeling to rigging. And now we have a skeleton. Click on it and create joint. Now you can create your joint. It's recommended to do this when you are looking at your model from left or front perspective. Okay, I just created, and as you can see, we have a big problem. We can't see the joints we created. You might say, well, we simply click on this to hide any objects we haven't selected. But as you can see, it doesn't do the job. So what is the better option? The best option is to separate everything you have in your scene in different layers. For example, one layer for meshes, one layer for joints, one layer for other things. So how to create a layer? We click on this. That's it. Now we just created a layer. If you double click on it, you can change the name. If you right click and add selected object, you can put any selected object in this layer. Now the useful part is here. If we click on V, anything that's in that layer will disappear like this. And we click again, it reappear, disappear, and reappear. But that's not the reason we are using it. The main reason is this. If you click on this, you see a T, which means template. When objects are in template mode, it becomes kind of transparent. You can see the object and still you can see through it, which is perfect for rigging. Now let's create our joints. We click on skeletons and create joints. You might say, what if I don't like to do this? Try another method. See here, click on rigging and click on this icon. And now you can create your joint. You click, 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 and how are we going to stop it? It doesn't stop. You might say, well, I click on escape. But if you do this, everything you worked for just vanishes. So how are we going to stop rigging? Well, simple. You left click, right click, and problem solved. You just created your first joint. If you pay attention, you see a big problem. Our joint doesn't align with the previous one. You might say, well, it's simple. We simply select it and align it, move it, and as you can see, everything moves. We just want this one moves, the one we selected. How are we going to do it? It's simple. Click on D. You select the joint you want to move and click on D. When you see this, it means your joint moves separately, independently from others, like this. We can repeat it for others and put them in their place. Fantastic. Now, if you hold Ctrl, Shift, and right click and select the object mode, you see, wait a minute, why the transparent or pivot is off? It seems each joint is pointing at a different angle. How are we going to fix it? It's very simple. Select the main root and start selecting others like this. And then go to display. What was it? Transform display, local rotation. See, you can see pivot of each joint. And you can see each one is totally pointing at separate angle. Now, select the main joint. Hold Shift and select other joints. Go to skeleton, orient joint. But don't click on orient joint. Click on the square next to it. And here you can choose what is the primary axis. In this case, we say it's Y. Leave the rest as default. And when we click on apply, bingo. All joints point at the same angle. Great. We created our joint, but there is a problem. I wish I made it a little bit bigger. What should I do? Do I really have to delete it all? No, just select one, go to display, and what was it? Animation, joint size. Here you can change the size of your joints. You can make it bigger, like this, or smaller, like this. Give any number value you wish. I think 1 is good. Now our joints are ready, we need to animate our cylinder. How are we going to do this? First, we need to put all of our joints in one layer. We create a new layer, double click it, choose a name for it such as joints, save, right click again, add select object. Now if we click on V, all joints disappear. Please take the layering part very seriously. Later it will save you a lot of time. We click on T again to get rid of template mode. But we have a problem. As you can see, I'm trying to select my mesh, but I can't select it. Why? The reason is this letter R. I think it means restricted. When your layer is in restricted mode, you can see it, but you cannot select it. In order to select it, simply click on R again, and now everything goes back to normal. And now we can select our object. When you have selected your joints and then selected your mesh, go to skin, bind the skin. You might say nothing has changed. In fact, everything has changed. Just go to transparent view, select one of your joints, go back and click on E and rotate your joints. Can you guess what's gonna happen? Bingo. See? We are animating the cylinder we have created. Rotating is not the only option. If you click on W, you can move your joint, which results in moving your mesh. Now, if we click on here and select another joint and then go back, you can move this joint that affects a different part of your mesh. See? Now, let me show you something cool. You don't have to use transparent mode in order to change the joint you want to move. You can use arrows on your keyboard. If you click on down arrow, you select the child of that joint. If you click on up arrow, you select parent of that joint. Simple. Child, parent, child. And that's it. We just learned how to use joints, rig a simple mesh, and change how it looks. I think I know what you want to say. You might say it's a pain in the neck to go to transparent mode every time to select another joint and move it in order to change the shape of our mesh. I wish there was something like a proxy between mesh and joint to do the job for us, and we don't have to go to transparent mode every single time. There is a way. I'm gonna show you, but first we need to get rid of this bind skin. How are we going to do it? We reset the position of our joint, select the mesh, and then we go to skin. Instead of clicking on bind the skin, we click on unbind the skin. Piece of cake, right? And now the skin effect is gone. In order to make the bridge, the proxy, we need to create a controller. You might say, what is a controller? Is it hard to make? No, it's very easy. Just click on curves and create a simple basic circle. That's it. That's your controller. But in order to use it, you need to put your controller in the center of your joint. Otherwise, it won't work. How are we going to do this? You might say, well, it's simple. We put our mesh into transparent mode, and simply by using our pivot, we put our controller in the center of that joint. But as you can see, regardless of how hard we try, it's hard. It's not a piece of cake. So how are we going to do it? By using V. You hold V, and then Maya automatically put it in the center of your joint. This is a piece of cake. In order to make more controllers, we simply use Ctrl D, like this. And we use V to put in the center of the other joint. And our controllers are almost ready. I'm saying almost because the position is terrible. We're not gonna memorize these numbers every time we wanna put it in its default position. What are we going to do? Select all your controllers, go to Modify, Freeze Transformation. When you do this, everything will go back to 0 and 1. Now, when you move any controller to wherever you want, and you want it to go back to its exact place, we simply change the position to 0, like this. It goes back to its place, where it belongs. Now we are going to connect the controller to joint. How are we going to do this? First, select the controller, then hold shift and select joint. When you are in rigging panel, go to constraint and select. You have so many options, don't care about them, just click on parent. You might say, well, nothing happened, but you are wrong, dead wrong. If you select your joint, you see, yeah, something has changed. And if you select your controller and rotate it, the joint will rotate with it too. And that's not all. If you click on W and move your controller, your joint will move with it too. Now let's do it all over again for this controller. We select it, hold shift, select joint, go to constraint, parent. No, we're not gonna do that. We simply select the controller, the joint, and click on G. And Maya will repeat the previous command, which was connecting that controller to this joint. Now let me show you something interesting. Select the upper controller. Go to rotation mode. You can easily and logically rotate the joint. No problem. However, if you select the lower controller and rotate it, as you can see, the joint doesn't rotate like the previous one. What's the problem? Is it a bug, a lag, a glitch? No. Everything is working fine. The reason this is happening is this joint has its own controller, and it always follow the position rotation the controller is connected. So when you are moving this joint, the upper joint checks, says, wait a minute, my controller doesn't move, and I only follow the position rotation of my controller. That's why this is happening. The upper joint doesn't move, which results in this. You might say, but there are so many situations that we want everything moves when we move one single controller. To solve this problem, simply select the upper controller and the lower controller and click on P. So you turn the upper controller into a child of lower controller, which means when the parent moves, the child moves with it too. Now let's bind the skin again. We select the joint, then select the mesh, and then we go to skin, bind the skin. And now we select the controller. And as you can see, everything is working fine. But when we move this one, as you can see, the vertices at the bottom move with it. And we don't like it. They shouldn't move. How are we going to tell Maya that this joint shouldn't have any effect on the vertices at the bottom of cylinder? Well, it's simple. First, select your mesh. Second, go to skin. You see this option, paint a skin weight, and click on this square. Here you can see a list of your joints and the area they are affecting. Vertices in white area move with the joint. On the other side, vertices in the black area don't follow the joint. And obviously vertices in the gray area are 50-50. They are something in the middle. Now I said I don't want the vertices at the bottom of my cylinder follow the joint too. So all I need to do is paint it black. When you are holding Ctrl, use your left key to paint black color on the vertices you don't want to follow the joint, like this. Keep in mind, your joint must be selected in this area. But what if we want to make it white? Well, simple, just use left mouse button to paint it white, which means you increase the effect of your joint on this area. And if you want to make it gray, hold shift to smooth this area, like this. In order to change the size of your brush, simply hold B and drag your mouse to right or left. Smaller, bigger. And that's pretty much everything you need to know to rig a character in Maya. Yes, I know I did not rig a character. However, I taught you the basics, which are crucial to rig a character. In the next video, I will import a character and start rigging it. So please like this video, hit the bell icon to be notified when I upload a new video. Until the next video, take care of yourself and have a fantastic and fabulous day.